looks like we've jumped in well into the middle of the game as we get started. How far along are we as far as the sort of progress on our character and the story itself?
So Evan's a little more than, I would say, 2/3 of the way through the story missions at this point, and he's just left Gastown, which is a big set piece for Mad Max, and he's on his way to the next story mission. And in this particular mission, he has been tasked to find a registered fighter for the Gastown races, and that's somebody who's going to occupy the back of Max's vehicle and help him in the fight. So that's where he's headed right now.
So even though the game has no direct ties to the recently released film, you guys must have been pretty damn thrilled that the movie turned out awesome. It only helps your cause, right?
That's true. Yeah, really. It's exciting that people are into Mad Max right now, and that it's having such a renaissance, because Mad Max has so long been such a focal point for other filmmakers and other games. So it's great to be able to make a game that is completely Mad Maxian through and through, and rooted in the tropes of Mad Max.
So we're going to be here for the next hour. We're on twitch.tv/IGN. Jump in the Twitch chat there. We can take your questions. Also, tweet us your questions at IGN with the hashtag IGNPlaysLive. We can ask the guys here. So at first glance, oh, yeah, yet another open world game, just what we need. But we're already seeing this isn't not just your average normal jump from rooftop to rooftop kind of same thing we usually do. First of all, we've got Buddy in the car to help us out.
Right, that's Chum Bucket.
You're harpooning dudes off of ledges.
Harpooning dudes, one of my favorite things to do in this game. Yeah, I mean, it's Avalanche, so with that pedigree comes a number of things that you would expect in an open world game developed by Avalanche. And one of those things is the tools that they equip the player with. They really give the player a satisfying number of tools that they can use to dismantle, destroy, deal with the environment the way that they seem fit.
Nice.
Harpoon is not strong enough to take that down.
The harpoon is a really
one job. Come on, man.
It's a really versatile weapon, and there's a lot that you can do with the harpoon. But you can level it up several times as well. You can see that he's got it at level 4 right now, indicated in the bottom right HUD. So the more he levels that up, the more and more potential he has to just wreak havoc and destroy in the game world.
Given that we're in the Mad Max Wasteland, I see down there also fuel being, of course, a premium resource in the game.
Indeed.
Water as well.
Yeah, water. I'm glad you pointed that out. That is the replenishable health source that Max has. He'll find food throughout the wasteland, but he has to use it as he comes across it. He cannot take it with him.
Got it.
Mad Max is about, everything is scarce. Food, fuel, ammunition. So you can't take food with you. Nothing that would drag you down.
All right, let's show off some of this car combat. Burning.
Flame pipes use fuel as well, so it's a really powerful weapon, but you want to conserve fuel.
Now, what did we do right there? We targeted a specific area of the car.
He had exposed the fuel tank on that vehicle, so
Nice.
I love the explosions and the flames in this game. Their particle systems are so good. But he had exposed the fuel tank, and one well-aimed shotgun blast is going to take out a war party, a vehicle. You saw that as he got out of the vehicle, Chum Bucket raced from the back of the Magnum Opus to the front. The Magnum Opus has replenishable health if Max stops and allows Chum Bucket to scurry to the front and do his magic.
That's a nice sort of narrative way to justify it. I like that.
You can die, you can destroy the car, but you're given an opportunity to get out before things go too far in the wrong direction.
Coming in on the Twitch chat, twitch.tv/IGN, StickDeath1980, who I'm going to guess is born in the same year I was. Hello from New Zealand. Are there motorbikes in the game at all?
There actually are not.
No
in
motorcycles.
this one.
4 wheels or bust for Mad Max.
Or more.
Or more. Fair point.
Wonder it comes.
Now we're going to start to get into, obviously the game has a story, but some of the on-foot combat, very different than the car combat, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So I'll give you a little bit of context of what's going on right here. This is Crow Dazzle, and like I said, Max was on his way from Gastown to get a registered fighter to help him in the Gastown races.
Shiny crow
So
such
Crow
as
Dazzle is the
I
guy
easily
here. All
flatters.
the registered fighters would be hanging out around the O-ring with him. And so he's pointing us in the direction of Tenderloin, who is the
Tenderloin.
fighter that we're going to try to
She
recruit
used
to help us
ramble
out.
large. Now she sucks the mask day and night. But Crow thinks a shot at the bigs could make a bad girl right.
Where is she?
Out back, up in that gas. But tread careful. She still loves her a good murder.
At Boa Noah wonders, is there a day-night cycle in Mad Max? Is there any nighttime action, or is everything during the hot, blazing, oppressive afternoon?
Indeed, there is. There's also a hot, oppressive
I need a fighter.
nighttime as well.
Everything in between.
And a couple other surprises that we might find
No,
out about
I need a fighter.
as we play through in the
Someone to
next
partner
hour
up for the
plus.
Gastown races.
There's also some some things that change as far as gameplay is concerned with the day-night cycle. There are different gangs, different enemies that will mostly come out at night, mostly if it's nighttime. So you'll see the buzzards, who are a more nocturnal enemy.
Right.
You can identify them by their extra spiky vehicles, spikier than the others.
You do something for me first. Square my doubt with Crow Dazzle, and I swear I'll get sober and murder up with you.
So he wants her to race with him, and she's willing to participate if first Max alleviates her of the debt that she owes to Crow Dazzle, who's the gentleman we met outside of the O-ring.
Right.
And that's a pretty good way to, pretty good insight into how missions work in this game.
Tenderloin's
Max
dead.
wants something, and somebody else wants something
her
from
deal?
Max. So to say that anybody is Max's ally is a bit of a stretch.
Crow can lift a wing and wipe the slate clean.
By arrangement only.
Yeah,
But my
if Max can
charity
get
ain't
something out of
free.
it, he's down.
State your
There are
wish.
no friends or
Go
favors
down
in
as
the wasteland.
such. You race for Crow, here, now. You bring the chills and the spills, and the people drop bills. I let her debt slide.
Fine.
Not so fast, Buck. You ain't racing that funky junk here. That rubber ain't fit for my finery. Only speed demons on this track. You tune that car right, then you race my blacktop.
So Crow Dazzle just told Max that only speed demons on his track. And there are so many different things you can do to the Magnum Opus. You can change suspension, exhaust, engine, weaponry,
Nice.
wheels, rims, flame pipes. There's a lot that you can do to it. But in order for the player to kind of learn more about the different builds and find what's suitable to their tastes, there are a number of Archangels to assemble in the game. And Evan's going to show us a little bit about the Archangels. This is the one that we're tasked with being tasked to build right now, the Speed Demon. You can see the pieces that he needs to complete the Speed Demon indicated by the little markers over each piece of HUD. And this, as you can imagine, this is a particularly fast vehicle. Some of these things he can buy right out. He has enough scrap.
Yeah.
That's the currency in the game. He can buy some of these things right out. Other things he has to go on quests or defeat certain enemies to acquire these pieces.
Or de-upgrade. Like,
Or even de-upgrade in some places. He has to lose
I need
spikes.
to unequip the spikes. I need to unequip my ramming grill in order to have a faster vehicle, and especially the armor. That's really weighing me down.
Right. Makes sense.
So let's go lower some threat, because we need it to be 3 in Pink Eye's territory in order to unlock this exhaust system.
This is a pretty important feature to hit on. Is threat. There are different territories throughout the game. Territories being defined by the stronghold leader in that area.
Okay.
And we happen to be in Pink Eye's territory right now. She has the stronghold slightly to the south. And in order for us to get the exhaust that we need to build the Speed Demon, we're going to have to lower threat in her territory. And we can do that any number of ways. Pretty much any enemy installation that you take out is going to lower threat, as well as provide a number of benefits to Max. There are no roads. Roads are a suggestion.
Where we're going,
We don't need roads.
What happens if you run out of gas? If that fuel gauge hits 0?
You're not going to come to a dead stop. First of all, there's a couple things to notify the player that fuel is running low, and if that's the case, you can see that he has, you can kind of see next to Chum Bucket on the left side of the vehicle, there's a fuel tank in the back. So we can carry one fuel tank with us at all times, and that's going to allow us to refuel at a moment's notice if need be. Okay, so he's headed into an enemy camp. All enemy camps are surrounded by perimeter defenses, and you have a limited amount of time to take out the defenses before they get buffed. That's that gauge filling at the top.
Okay, I see that.
And if they get buffed, they're going to do significantly more damage, have increased fire rates. So it's in the best interest of Evan here to
do it.
To take these.
Evan, we believe in you.
I think I got it.
Oh,
Got it.
Nice.
Luckily, that enemy vehicle somehow ran into something that blew up some guys.
That's
Just
what
the nature
happens.
of this world.
We would be greatly rewarded.
Ooh, storm.
Oh,
Sandstorm.
this
There
is
it comes.
this is something that I hope would happen. So these are completely random, and we kind of hope that we get these when we're showing off the game because yes,
Regret nothing.
because it really shows kind of how I think Avalanche's games just really show off best when more is happening, when there's more explosions, more particles, more things going on, and the storms really do a great job of exemplifying that.
It's an electrical storm too.
Now there's a gameplay benefit to storms as well. Max can seek shelter to get out of the storm because if he lingers too long, there's a pretty good chance he's gonna die. But floating around in storms are giant crates of scrap. So the risk reward there is hang out, try to find these scrap crates, get a lot of scrap. And you can take shelter from storms by ducking into a stronghold or any enemy camp that you've taken over.
Right.
Wow. That lightning just took out that sniper. There might be something good here, so I'm gonna check it out. Oh, never mind, there's some other loot on the map. I'm going for that. Good luck to us all.
Team 9612 on Twitter, curious how much, if there's any car or character customization as far as appearance goes.
Oh, certainly. So for the car, changing the color and the car body is a big part of the game. Those are both completely cosmetic, but
There it is.
so there's one of the mother loot crates that that we're looking for in the storm.
Pull it down.
Oh, nice.
Ah, it's stuck. There we go.
Got it.
There we go.
But also Max has quite a few cosmetic changes you can make, and I think we're going to show you some in the next hour. But
Sweet.
he's
Oh, crap.
there is a pretty extensive
That was so close.
Well,
it shows you that it's
a
real,
good thing
man.
we're not streaming that to thousands of people.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the nature of the world, though. You take the risk of getting the mother loot, you might die.
That shows you that we're not using God mode here, you know? Playing it the way it should be. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Max's cosmetic
Yeah.
upgrades. He can change his face, his beard, his hair, all that good stuff, but he also changes his jacket, which has defensive bonuses. His ammo belt grows, so he can carry more ammunition. His gauntlets, his wrist armor, everything about him is upgradable, and those all affect him cosmetically as well as his ability to dish out damage and take it.
All right, let's see here.
If you could just zoom out for just a second, I want to show how vast the world is. Every piece of UI that you're seeing, all of that iconography is a different activity, something different to do.
A couple things, maybe.
There's a few things to
you
do.
know, here and there.
There's a fast travel system as well, so you don't always have to drive if you don't want to. But of course we're going to because we want to.
Well, we also have to in this area because we haven't used any of the outpost balloons.
That's true, but also we love to drive.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really good set pieces that you can always see in the vistas. So Gastown was to our right. We could see the just plumes of smoke billowing out of the towers. And Avalanche is pretty amazing about creating worlds that if you can see it, you can go to it. So there's an outpost in the far distance there. those are hot air balloons that you can ascend in and identify all those pieces of UI we saw on the map, all the different objectives. That's because we did scouting from the sky that allowed us to identify all these different things we can do.
Let me see if I can find this convoy. Woo! So I'm gonna get to higher ground, see if I can see any of the big dust clouds that'll signify the convoy.
Environmental cues are a pretty big part of Mad Max. We don't spoon feed the player anything in terms of telling them where to go or forcing them where to go.
Good.
There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that is really subtly conveyed. So in this instance, I guarantee whatever that smoke in the distance, that's something worth checking out. But in this case, we're looking for a convoy, which is a particularly deadly group of vehicles traveling around. And if we can take out the convoy leader, not only do we level threaten the territory and gain scrap, we gain hood ornaments that we can equip on the front and rear of the Opus that are going to give passive abilities like more damage sustained, go faster, all that good stuff. But he was looking for a giant cloud of dust because that's how we discover convoy leaders. If we can find a giant dust cloud, there's going to be some bad guys in there.
Oh, these are convoy tracks.
We're playing off PS4 here, obviously a near final build given the fact that the game's just about out, but Xbox One and PC as well, correct?
Indeed, September 1st.
Avalanche is shipping 2 games this fall, one for you guys, one not for you guys. Just Cause 3, but I wonder, there's got to be some sort of internal bet going on as to which one either sells better, gets better reviews. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see the competitiveness of the teams internally.
You know what? No matter who loses that bet in the studios, you know who wins? Players.
Everybody else.
Players win.
Let's hope so. So far, so good.
So there's a convoy coming up here, so I'm gonna upgrade my ramming grill. I'm gonna put those spikes back on. I don't know if my card's quite upgraded enough for this, but let's see what happens.
Is PC version shipping day and date with the consoles, or is it a little later, or what's the story on the PC side?
It is indeed.
Yeah, September 1st for all 3. So he's located the convoy, and you can see that the convoy leader is guarded by a number of different war party vehicles, and these ones heavily armored. The little number above indicates how many layers of armor they have to go before they are vulnerable to the harpoon or a shotgun blast that'll take them out.
Gotcha.
Ooh. In addition to the weapons, physics-based combat is a big part of Mad Max vehicles. So ramming, hitting vehicles from the side, grinding them with the spikes and rims that you've equipped, that's a big part of the combat as well. Because you won't always have ammunition. You won't always have vehicles like weapons like the Thunderpoon. You might not have the gas to expend for the flame pipes there. But you can always hit stuff.
Probably my favorite mechanic in this game so far of what I've played is being able to target individual parts of the car with the harpoon and just yanking wheels off. I love that. I'm never going to get bored of doing that.
I feel the same way. For me, it's tearing the door off and then just yanking the driver right out of his seat.
That was a maneuver. Toot my own horn.
Well, you got to make up for that time you died.
Yeah.
I swear I'm good at this
game.
game.
To make us forget that
Still got a ways to go, pal.
These convoys are not small. How big can these convoys get?
This is definitely one of the larger ones. This is one of the tougher convoy battles. The interesting thing about convoy battles too is because of the emergent nature of the world, you might get raided by a war party while you're doing this. So another faction might join in the fight, and you can add, who knows, like 3 or 4 more vehicles to the melee.
All right.
Oh,
Got
him, dude.
All right, I'm gonna go for that lead guy.
A couple people in the Twitch chat wondering, this game's not all car combat, isn't it? We'll get to some on foot hand-to-hand stuff later, I'm sure.
Yeah, so all the enemy camps, the one that he was about to raid before, a moment ago before the storm kicked in, those focus much more heavily on hand-to-hand combat, and so we'll get a really good chance to check out combat in just a second after we wrap up this convoy battle. We'll probably head into that camp.
Get this
Yes.
convoy out of there.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, and his own
Hang
car
on.
ran him. Oh.
Ah! Perfect.
There's a random war
There you go.
party.
So there's a war party that just drove ahead, head first into our battle here.
We have to rip some armor off, expose some
Close that tank.
weaknesses.
Do it. Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, it's death spike.
So that guy just got impaled on the spikes on the side of Max's car. And you may notice that he's driving, he's firing projectiles, he's using his flame pipes, he's tearing dudes out of their car, he's pulling pieces of other vehicles off, and he's staying on the road. He's, for the most part, he's
Hanging in there.
he's able to continue driving. That's something Avalanche does particularly well, is let the player feel empowered and do a number of things at one time without having to sacrifice playability, or without having to really be a pro at controller acrobatics.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's doing a lot with relatively little player input here.
Dodge that
Bless your
sniper.
sacred carbs. Now we're open again.
I love listening to Chumbucket talk.
I can't catch back up to these guys.
Up there.
Producer Ben, I'm not sure. Is there any way to move our little picture-in-picture to the upper right corner of the screen by chance? We got some HUD. We have a HUD down there in the lower right that we're obscuring.
Steer true to avoid the boom bombs hidden all around.
There it is. Much obliged, kind sir.
Long shots stalk this region, Saint. Be on guard.
You can drive in first person too. It's not really made for
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not really made for combat, but man, it's the way to experience the wasteland sometimes.
Still plague these lands.
What I like about this is that it's too many things in games now are it's 30 seconds and it's over. This battle's been going on for what, a good 5 minutes now?
It's been going on, yeah. Oh,
This armor must go.
and it goes on road and off road and back to the road again.
Get over to me. Alright, here we go.
Be sitting quite still without wheels.
And although the focus is on the Magnum Opus and upgrading that to create what
Oh!
the machine that you want, you can take any of these enemy vehicles and add them to your collection too,
The bonnet figure. Magic for the
or
initiated.
break them down for scrap.
Getting there.
I have 2 more shotgun shots. It might be enough, it
All you
might
need.
not.
Is there another way to take out this convoy leader, or do you have to
There it is.
dismantle him?
I gotta dismantle him. I think I could actually ram him enough if I had a stronger ramming drill.
Okay.
These guys are gonna get me.
Oh no. Fail.
Oh.
See, I
So-
tried to get out and the guy rammed me, so I couldn't.
Okay, so that's a convoy battle. Almost, man.
Almost.
Almost. Still.
Almost only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes, my friend.
But we'll do a camp to lower some threat.
All right.
Immeasurably better than I would have done, though. I gotta say, you kept that going for quite a while.
And again, this is like 2/3 in. I'm sure we're gonna ramp up to that sort of
For sure.
scale and difficulty.
And that's another good thing to talk about. The world is not really gated in a sense that you can't go from zone to zone. There are a couple little restrictions to the player early on, but really it takes the gloves off pretty fast and lets you go anywhere in the world that you want to go.
Good. I'm tired of too much hand-holding in games now.
Not a lot of that in Mad Max, man. I'm tired of it too.
Could do Stonehold. Let's do it.
All overrun by Scrotus.
Yeah, let's get maybe some hand-to-hand combat going on.
So I think that's where we're headed right now. We're gonna charge into a camp. And what kind of camp are we going to?
This is an oil pump camp.
Okay. So there's a few different types of camps. There are oil pump camps where there are large objectives to destroy. And then there are gas tank transfer camps, which include a number of objectives to destroy. And there are top dog camps. And those have kind of like a mini boss for the player at the end of them. Doing all of them is going to reward the player greatly through scrap and ammunition finds, but also taking out a top dog is going to give you paint colors for your vehicle. And any camp that you take out is going to populate with allies, and they're going to give you scrap drops periodically,
Nice.
as well as provide shelter in a storm.
There's a campsite.
Still another level and a half of threat to get down.
Indeed.
You can hear Chumbucket. There you go. He's always giving you exposition and pointing out things subtly to the player, and sometimes not so subtly, but whereas Max is a really stoic man of few words, Chumbucket's a really good source of exposition. He's also pretty funny. You never really get tired of having Chum around. Oh, so he climbed into the back of the Magnum Opus, and real quick, I just want to point out that the Opus is, it's mobile, but it's a mobile fortress. So he can assess a camp from really far away by climbing into the back, zooming in with the sniper rifle, identifying threats.
Take care of that guard tower. Nice shot.
Well done.
Chum's a master. So my harpoon isn't quite strong enough to rip down this gate, but I think I can
Car
ram it
is.
down.
Almost.
Sit tight.
As you can tell, the driving in this game is about hitting stuff. It's about going off-road. It's
Yeah,
about...
Arcade car combat game. No crazy tire physics or anything too nuts going on here.
Right. So you'll see a little note just popped up on the bottom left that says 60% bonus, water bonus. There's all kinds of things Max can do to increase his ranking and his ability to survive. He has a really deep level of progression, and as he progresses, he unlocks new abilities. His health, of course, grows. His ability to use melee weapons in combat extends. And so here's our chance to look at melee combat. Big,
Okay, so we can counter
big focus
here.
on crowd control.
Ooh.
Enemies definitely don't wait for you to attack their buddies.
Yeah, not in the Mad Max,
Yeah,
I suppose.
not a Bruce Lee film. Ooh. As much as I've played this game, I still have a really visceral reaction to some of the stuff that Max does. Especially when he makes bones go the direction that, you know, they're not supposed to go.
Very Indiana Jones-like finish to that fight.
Oh yeah.
Shotgun is super effective, but ammunition is really scarce, so you definitely want to save those.
Ooh, food.
Dinky D.
A little dog food to get the
Yeah.
nutrition.
That's probably the tastiest thing you get to eat in this game.
Dog food. Nutritious and delicious.
So like we said, this is an oil pump camp, and is this an oil pump camp?
It's an oil pump.
Okay, so he's looking for a giant oil derrick, and that's if he destroys that, he can secure this camp with allied units.
Gotcha.
In the meantime, we get some scrap.
Something that this camp I think is starting to demonstrate. You may have seen, like, as we're going through the wasteland, there are plenty of ramps, there are plenty of things to jump off of, but the game's verticality really comes into play when we go into enemy camps. So this camp is deep, deep underground, and there are a number of environments that exist underground. There's an entire airport somewhere in the game that is buried, and there are roads and caverns and all kinds of serpentine areas for Max to discover deep underground.
There's the oil pump.
There she is.
Now we need to find an explosive in order to take it out.
Okay.
You've also noticed that every time he picks up scrap, he gets a notifier of his percent completed. So when he picks this one up right here, it'll say 5 out of 12. And that's just a nice little feature for the OCD completionist who really wants to find everything in the game. We let you know when you've completely looted a location.
Can you redo missions or go back into areas to find any you might have missed?
You can always go back into areas and yeah, find any scrap you might have missed. The enemies will be gone, but that'll just make it easier for you to do what you need to do.
Oh.
If you see an enemy with a weapon, you can get it.
Seems fair to say if you're familiar with the Batman Arkham series' melee combat system, you'll fit right in here.
I think that's safe to say, and it's about presenting a system that's familiar and easy to pick up and easy for the player to understand, but there's a lot of discoverable depth to it. There's a lot of room for Max to expand and develop some much more, I would say, progressive tactics.
Just gonna leave a perfectly good spiked bat to waste.
Oh, there will be more. So that's that for that camp. And on the way out, you'll see that allies have started to populate it and make it a friendly camp.